have a Christmas Day matchup as the Kansas City Chiefs are taking on the Steelers in Pittsburgh. This is your Week 17, 2024 prediction and preview video. Hit subscribe if you're new. Also hit the like button. Let's start with the home team, the Steelers. Short week for both teams. The last time the Steelers played was on Saturday against the Baltimore Ravens, and that was not a good matchup for the Steelers. They lost that game 34-17, and on the day, Russell Wilson was 22 of 33, 2 passing touchdowns, 1 interception, and he did have a fumble in the red zone also. Before the turnover started to go out there and hurt the Steelers, they were in this game. The offense was able to go out there and keep up, but it was the fumble that hurt them. It led to points for the Ravens, and the interception was a pick 6. And this matchup, yes, let Russell Wilson cook, but Russell Wilson has to do a better job of taking care of the football. And Russell Wilson, when you look at him on the season, he's done an okay job of doing that. 15 passing touchdowns to 4 interceptions. Yes, he will have a fumble here and there like how he had against the New York Giants and how he had against the Baltimore Ravens. I'm not saying go out there and just make Russell Wilson the ultimate game manager. You're going to lose this game if you don't take those deep shots down the field on the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs right now, they're one of the best teams in the NFL, but they're vulnerable. They have won 11 games by 1 score this season. George Pickens was able to practice on Monday in a walkthrough. He was a full participant, and there's an 80% chance that he's going to play in this matchup. You have to get him the football deep down the field if he's able to play. And if he's not able to play, go to Calvin Austin III. Calvin Austin III right now is not a true number 1 wide receiver, but he has looked solid within the last few weeks. He has 65 receiving yards against the Philadelphia Eagles. He has 65 receiving yards against the Baltimore Ravens. He is a major deep threat. You have to keep him on the outside and take those special throws deep down the field with Russell Wilson. You also have Big Pat at the tight end position. This is a physical Kansas City Chiefs defense, and they have speed at the linebacking position. But when I look at the Steelers, you've been able to stay in some of the games early on in the first half. It's just the second half adjustments. All Russell Wilson has to do, nickel and dime his way down the field, take care of the football, and let him use his legs. If Russell Wilson goes out there and he slides last week and he doesn't fumble the football, the Ravens potentially, they don't walk away with 7 points on that drive. And the Steelers could walk away with 3 points or even better, a touchdown. It's just those crucial moments will hurt you in this matchup. It hurt them last week, but against the Kansas City Chiefs, a fumble or an interception would definitely put you behind the 8 ball in this matchup. Take care of the football. When I look at the rushing attack, it's going to be tough to run the football on the Kansas City Chiefs, but you have to get Cordell Patterson and Jaylen Warren involved. Those are the explosive running backs right now with the Steelers. Cordell Patterson had a receiving touchdown last week. You have to utilize him more. Even if George Pickens is able to play and he's on the field, put Cordell Patterson inside the slot, use motion with him. He's a solid run blocker, and he's just a do-it-all Swiss Army knife on the offensive end. You want to make creases up front with Jaylen Warren. Jaylen Warren has the speed. When I look at Najee Harris over the last few games, he has not been a dependable running back coming out of the backfield in terms of getting explosive plays. He is a bowling ball. In short yardage situations, you go to Najee Harris. But the reason why I'm saying go out there with Jaylen Warren and Cordell Patterson, you want to try to go out there and beat the Kansas City Chiefs with speed up front. Najee Harris, it takes a while for him to hit his top gear. And you have Chris Jones and George Karlaftis. Chris Jones is one of the bigger defensive players in the NFL. But don't get it twisted. This man is very fast for a defensive tackle, and he can wreck your offensive line and your game plan. Yes, use Najee Harris in the screen game, but make sure that you have blockers around him so he can have extra space up front. And speaking of that defensive line with the Kansas City Chiefs, they were blitzing a lot just a month ago. Over this last couple of weeks, they haven't done it as much. They were still sending the blitz here. Steve Spagnuolo is known to send a 0 blitz and make life hell for your opposing quarterback. But I look at Chris Jones. You have to double team him all game long. Don't leave him in one-on-one situations. This man can go out there and wreck your entire offensive line and your game plan. And Russell Wilson, he does have speed to get out of the jam. But George Karlaftis is there. And the same with Charles Omenihu. You don't want Russell Wilson to be on his toes the entire game. The offensive line has to step up. And last week, the Baltimore Ravens sacked Russell Wilson 3 times. Against the Philadelphia Eagles, the offensive line was up and down. And we saw Russell Wilson go out there and deal with pressure majority of the time. Part of it is because he's running himself into sacks because he's trying to take the big play down the field. All Russell Wilson has to do is stay patient inside the pocket, take what the defense gives him, and run this offense through your running backs, through George Pickens if he's able to play, and take those deep shots when needed. I look at a guy like Trent McDuffie. I would not test Trent McDuffie in this matchup. Last week, the man had 2 interceptions on CJ and the Houston Texans. You could take those deep shots down the field on the opposite side. If they're going to put Trent McDuffie on George Pickens the entire game, Calvin Austin III should be the go-to option in this matchup. And the same with Big Pat at the tight end position. I like the Steelers in this matchup. All Russell Wilson has to do is not panic against the blitz and panic against pressure. Take what the defense gives you, find some creases in the rushing lane, and deke and dunk your way down the field. And the reason why I say deke and dunk your way down the field, if the run game is not helping you out in this matchup, those short yards, 3 to 4 yards passing, that's your de facto run game. Make them respect your passing game still, and then you could possibly go out there and run the football on the edge with the Kansas City Chiefs defense. When I look at the defense for the Steelers, they've been up and down over the last few weeks. It's hard for your defense to go out there every single week and perform at a high level. They had defensive players dropping like flies last week. No Deshaun Elliott. He's scheduled to play in this matchup. The last time he played was against the Cleveland Browns a couple of weeks ago. Joey Porter Jr., the top cornerback, he exited last game dealing with a knee injury. And Dante Jackson was not able to play. In this matchup, Deshaun Elliott, Dante Jackson, they're scheduled to play in this matchup. And I look at Joey Porter Jr. He is questionable, but he was able to practice on Monday. This situation right here with the Steelers, you have to be very careful because TJ Watt is still not 100%. He's dealing with that ankle injury. He had his ankle taped up. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL right now. I know you went against Lamar Jackson. We talked about Josh Allen. Those guys are special in their own right. When I look at Patrick Mahomes, what makes him so hard to beat, he does everything very well, especially in short yardage situations. The pass rush with the Steelers has to hit home. With Herbig, Alex Highsmith, TJ Watt, Cameron Hayward, you have to bring him down. Patrick Mahomes is a former baseball player. That's why he's able to make those plays off platform. He's able to make those plays off the back foot. You get a hand on him, you bring him down. You don't really want to blitz in this matchup. Patrick Mahomes is great against the blitz. Has one of the best completion percentage, touchdown to interception ratios in the NFL against the blitz. You want to play that tight man coverage, but I don't know if the Steelers are going to be able to do that because of the injuries on the back end. You have Minkah Fitzpatrick, who had a clutch interception last week. The Steelers have to go out there and test out the tackles with the Chiefs. Joe Thuney is playing the tackle position, and that's been the case over the last 2 weeks. I look at Alex Highsmith, TJ Watt. You have to impact this game. That is your chance to go out there and beat the Kansas City Chiefs with your front seven, with those playmakers. Patrick Queen has been a solid linebacker this season. Last week, he had a bad game. This was the first time in a long time he's had a bad game. He was not able to go out there and cover Mark Andrews. You're going to have to put him in man-to-man situations with Travis Kelce. And the reason why I say that, against zone coverage, Travis Kelce has been in this league for many years now. Patrick Mahomes has a great rapport with him. You play that soft zone coverage, that cover two, they're going to eat you up every time. And the same with Hollywood Brown. You have to play a lot of man coverage in this matchup. Cover one is your best bet, and cover two because you can have safety help over the top. Especially with Deshaun Elliott coming back, you can now have Minkah Fitzpatrick see over top, so they don't get those big plays down the field with Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown. Deshaun Elliott can now be more so closer to the line of scrimmage. You can put him in box. They put Minkah Fitzpatrick in the box within the last 2 weeks because Deshaun Elliott has not been able to play. DeMonte Casey was the guy that came in, looked solid at times, but he's not consistent enough. Deshaun Elliott is. I'm worried about the secondary at the cornerback position, but you have Corey Treese, who is able to go out there and give you good production. He had a very good game against the Denver Broncos. I think when I look at the Steelers defense, you have the guys up front. You have the linebackers to cover in space. The same with Peyton Wilson and Patrick Queen. You just want to play sound defense. If Patrick Mahomes gets a big play here or there, that's fine. Don't go out there. Don't panic. And you have to put that pressure on Mahomes. And Mahomes is dealing with an ankle injury in his own right. I know that I was talking about TJ Watt dealing with an ankle injury. He has his ankle taped up. I really hate that this matchup is a quick turnaround for both teams because both teams are dealing with injuries right now, but it is what it is. Now let's talk about the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs have only lost one game this season. And last week they went out there and they took care of business against the Houston Texans. They played efficient and sound football on the day. Patrick Mahomes dealing with that ankle injury. That's all that we heard about all season long. Should they sit him down? How do you care about home field advantage if Patrick Mahomes isn't able to stay healthy? Well, Patrick Mahomes was 28 of 41, 260 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown. They won this matchup 27-19. The offensive line did look better. Having Joe Thuney at the left tackle position is phenomenal. And shout out to him, because that's hard to do. The man is a top guard in the NFL, and he's playing a tackle position. That is hard. The man is used to playing against defensive tackles, and he's going out there now on a every down basis, guarding guys like Myles Garrett and going against guys like Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson. Shout out to Joe Thuney. He's going to be pivotal in this matchup. Keep the pressure off Patrick Mahomes and let Patrick Mahomes cook. You have the best quarterback in the NFL for a reason. It's the reason why they have won numerous Super Bowls so far underneath Patrick Mahomes. I look at the defense for the Steelers. You want to spread them out. You want to test out the secondary, even if they are 100%. You have DeAndre Hopkins. You have Hollywood Brown. You have Travis Kelce. Say what you want to say about Travis Kelce. He is still a very good, effective playmaker, especially across the middle of the field. And the Steelers have struggled to cover the middle of the field within the last few weeks. A lot of it dealing with injuries, but the Kansas City Chiefs can take advantage of that. And you can run this offense through your running backs with Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco. And we saw this last week. Kareem Hunt caught some footballs out of the backfield. The same with Isaiah Pacheco. And they did that against one of the best defenses in the NFL, the Houston Texans. You want to wear the Steelers down. Run the football. And the way that you run the football in this matchup, use motion. Derrick Henry had 96 rushing yards last week off of motion plays. The Kansas City Chiefs are great at using motion with Xavier Worthy, Travis Kelce, and now you can move around Hollywood Brown. The Steelers, they play a lot of man coverage. That's a telltale sign. An easy crossing route on the outside can beat that man coverage because they're not going to be quick enough to go out there and keep up with the speed of Xavier Worthy or Hollywood Brown. But you find creases in the defense with the Steelers. Isaiah Pacheco is a very good running back. He's been Mr. Consistent over the last few years when he's been able to stay healthy. And you have Kareem Hunt that can push the pile. We saw the Steelers defense struggle last week to stop Derrick Henry. And we saw them struggle a couple weeks before against the Philadelphia Eagles and Jalen Hurts. And Patrick Mahomes can use his legs in this matchup. Don't just make everything on Patrick Mahomes. You have those playmakers, but dinking and dunking your way down the field can help because you're going to force the Steelers cornerbacks to make tackles in space. And the Steelers cornerbacks have struggled to do that. They struggled to do that against the Cincinnati Bengals. They struggled against the New York Giants. And they've also struggled against the Philadelphia Eagles doing that. And quick tunnel screens can also hurt the Steelers because of how thin they are at the cornerback position. Take advantage of that. And I've seen Andy Reid go out there and create mismatch opportunities on the outside. In order to beat the Steelers, you want to beat them outside the numbers. And you can do it against them on the inside of the numbers. But in that one-on-one situation with DeAndre Hopkins and Travis Kelce, I trust them a little bit more than I trust the Steelers secondary, even if they are 100%. It's just going to come down to can they keep TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith off of Patrick Mahomes long enough to buy him enough time inside the pocket. And with Joe Thuney playing that left tackle position, it's a big monster that you have to worry about. And Cameron Hayward. I will put a lot of pressure on Cameron Hayward and make sure that he doesn't wreck this game also. When I look at the defense for the Kansas City Chiefs, if George Pickens is able to play, Trent McDuffie, put him on the island the entire game. Trent McDuffie is one of the best cornerbacks in the league. Like I mentioned a couple minutes ago, he had 2 interceptions last week against CJ and the Houston Texans. You put him in man coverage. If he beats Trent McDuffie, so be it. But I trust Trent McDuffie in this matchup. Steve Spagnuolo has to send pressure on Russell Wilson. You have Chris Jones. You have George Karlaftis. Those guys are going to be major game changers in this matchup. You want to make sure that Russell Wilson holds onto the football for just a little bit long, and then you can put roll coverage on the back end. The Steelers, they have wide receivers that can beat you over the top, but it doesn't matter when the offensive line can't step up. And I've seen the Steelers offensive line be inconsistent at times. And that first matchup against the Cleveland Browns, Myles Garrett wrecked that game. Against the Philadelphia Eagles, they were good in the first half. In the second half, they didn't have the football that much. The defensive pressure was getting to Russell Wilson. And we saw last week against the Baltimore Ravens that press man coverage can give them a lot of problems, even if George Pickens is able to play. And Steve Spagnuolo is one of the best defensive minds in the NFL. I trust for him to go out there, put a lot of pressure on Russell Wilson and blitz, especially on third down. This man would send a zero blitz like how he did against Derek Carr many months ago on the Monday Night Football game. The wide receivers are open down the field, but it doesn't matter when you're getting hit. They have to stick to their contained coverage and make sure that Russell Wilson doesn't kill you with his legs. He is not the runner that he used to be, but we saw last week he had a long rush against the Baltimore Ravens. You have to be careful here. Justin Fields is questionable. Be on lookout for him. It's a 90% chance they bring in Justin Fields, they're going to run the football. And I would go out there and stack the box against Justin Fields. Make him have to go out there and beat you with his arm. Russell Wilson is a better passer than Justin Fields, but you do have to take accountability of the legs of both quarterbacks, Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. And you want to keep Russell Wilson inside the pocket and get pressure with your big defensive tackle. Some of the huge plays with the Steelers are when Russell Wilson is outside the pocket and when he could throw deep down the middle of the field to Calvin Austin III. And now look at the safeties with the Kansas City Chiefs. I like the group that they have. Not having L'Jarius Sneed has hurt this defense, but over the last 4 weeks, the passing defense has looked better. This is not going to be a shootout situation for the Kansas City Chiefs, but this can be a defensive slug out. Which defensive pressure can go out there and make more noise, the Steelers or the Chiefs? With all that being said, I can see the Steelers winning this game and upsetting the Kansas City Chiefs. And I'm going to tell you why. The Chiefs went out there last Christmas against the Raiders. They lost that matchup a year ago. Black Friday this year, they were in a close game with the Raiders yet again. Maybe the Raiders just have their number. I've seen Patrick Mahomes go against Russell Wilson before, and I've seen him lose with Sean Payton as the head coach. I do have the Kansas City Chiefs winning this game, but this is not going to be a blowout by any means. I believe the Steelers will bounce back. They will score 24 points, but I have the Kansas City Chiefs winning their 12th game of the season by 1 score. I have the Kansas City Chiefs winning this matchup 27-24, and it's huge implications for both teams. If the Steelers win out, they win the AFC North Division. They host a playoff game. If the Kansas City Chiefs go out there, they take care of business against the Steelers on the road, it's a great chance they will lock up the first seed in the NFL playoffs, and the NFL playoffs have to run through Arrowhead yet again. But let me know in the comment section below, who do you have winning this game? The Kansas City Chiefs or the Steelers? If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, we want each and every last one of you guys stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for the video, guys. God bless. Peace.